Hi guys! Alright, so we're in a different spot today. I'm humble bragging in my background because that's what I like to do sometimes. So at the beginning of May I started a read-along. I don't know if anybody joined me. We'll find out eventually. I plan on doing this every single year that I have my channel, so I decided why not just go ahead and start this year. I didn't do it last year because I didn't think about it, and I also wasn't really posting videos during the summer. So, for the month of May, I was reading The Hobbit, and as you can see I did a little bit of tabbing. For this read through I focused on a little bit of everything really while I was reading it, but it wasn't until I got to the end that I decided which I wanted to talk about this year. So in my blog post that will be linked down below, I mainly talked about the tone of the book, which I will also talk about here, along with just some overall general thoughts of the story. I also read Exploring J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit by Corey Olsen. He's the president of Signum University when he wrote this. While reading this, I was also listening to his podcasts that he did that kind of encouraged him to write this book. And we're going to get back to talking about The Hobbit. Okay, so overall, I enjoyed the story. This is the second time I've read it, but bad memory and the movies made it hard to really remember everything that happened. So this was kind of like reading it for the first time. So it was interesting to see what happened that I didn't remember and things that I made connections with from the movies, and it was fun and interesting, and I really enjoyed reading it. The only issue that I had reading this was I felt like because I was going one chapter at a time between the two of them at the same time, there was a break in the flow. So it made it a little harder for me to get fully enveloped in the story. So at some point I will probably try to just read The Hobbit straight through, like one night or something, just so that I have that and I can talk about that. Talking about the tone of the book. This was something Corey Olsen pointed out to me. A couple of the things that I'm going to talk about throughout the years that I do this are things that he pointed out that I never really would have thought of. And that's one of the things that I really liked about reading that book, was that there were certain little things that I just kind of take for granted sometimes, so I don't really focus on them. So this is me focusing on one of those. And in my blog post, I have written down all of the examples that I'm going to talk about here. First, we have Bilbo. Bilbo goes through a good amount of change throughout the book. Also, if you haven't actually read The Hobbit, spoilers, because spoilers, sorry. Bilbo goes through a good amount of change through the book. When we first meet him, he is very, very much a Baggins, and very, very much wanting to be respected by his neighbors, and he is respected by his neighbors. He doesn't do anything strange. He just lives a very simple hobbit life. And throughout the story, you kind of see him change into not almost a completely different person in some ways. Because at the beginning you really see the fight between his Baggins and his Took side. Because Baggins, they want the comfort, they want to be safe, they like simple things. And Tooks have been known to be more adventurous. So you kind of see the Took side come out as we go further in the book. But then you also just kind of see them just meld together. They work together better. Then we have the dwarves, who when they are introduced, they're kind of silly almost. They're all carrying musical instruments. Why is that a thing? A couple of them fall on top of each other when they're coming in the door. You slowly realize as they get further and further along that they also have kind of no clue what they're doing. Because when they get to the trolls, they're like, let's go find out, when they definitely shouldn't be going to find out what's happening. So there's a good portion of the story where the dwarves are not very serious characters, and it's kind of hard to take them seriously in any way, shape, or form. But then when we get closer to the mountain and they're actually in some danger, they do kind of step up a little, and then when they're in the mountain, like especially Thorin, it's just like they just kind of get way more serious and way darker, and it's just like a very, very serious situation, whereas at the beginning they're singing while they're cleaning up, throwing plates around and being silly, and then you get these other dwarves that are very different from that image of the dwarves that we get. That's one of like the bigger changes that you kind of see, like just the dramatic change between these silly dwarves carrying musical instruments singing a song while cleaning up to the dwarves under the mountain threatening anyone who tries to harm them, kind of thing. The elves, it changes based on like which elves we meet. Like the first elves we meet are silly and they're singing songs and they're poking fun at the dwarves and they're just having fun and they're being silly and they're being elves. And then later on in the story we meet the elves of Mirkwood, and the elves of Mirkwood are not as nice. They lock the dwarves up and they keep them captive because they thought that they were being attacked, even though they're being explained to you, like, no, we weren't trying to attack you, we're trying to get the hell out of here. Like, why can't you just, like, send us on our merry ways? We won't bother you again. And then we also get, you know, the elves of Mirkwood when they go to the base of the mountain and they're like, hey, we want some gold, some silver gems and shiny things, like. So you have a very, very threatening image of the elves later on in the book, whereas the first view of the elves we get is silly and funny and just very childish. The goblins are kind of like fucked up. Because, I mean, they're singing songs, and their songs are very simple songs, but their songs are also, like, super fucked up. Like, if you read the words in their songs, it's just like, alright, gonna try to torture some dwarves. That's a thing. Awesome. I would rather not be part of that. Thank you very much. So every time that we really meet the goblins, they are treated in a darker light. But that's also later in the book when we meet the goblins. After the goblins, the spiders are the next people that we meet, and Bilbo is the silly one in this situation, more so than the spiders. But if you look at the situation, Bilbo's sitting here singing funny songs, making fun of the spiders, teasing them, but he's also killing them, which is something that's kind of like there, but it's not like he killed them. I mean, it does kind of, but like with the songs, it's easier to focus on that. And with the dwarves being tied up, and with the spiders, you know, ending up running away sometimes, like, it's easier to focus on all of that than on the simple fact that he is killing them. So, Tolkien kind of takes these darker things, and he just kind of makes them lighter by adding silly songs, by adding funny words, by just, you know, making the situation not focused on that one darker aspect. I hope that all, like, kind of made sense and flowed well and fits, and thank you guys for watching. On my next read-through of The Hobbit, I will be focusing mainly on Bilbo's character and the way that he changes throughout the book, along with his Baggins took sides, but the focus will be on Bilbo as a character and as a role, like as a lead. So, let me know what you guys thought of this. Hopefully next time I'll be a little more prepared. I kind of just threw this together at the beginning of last month, and I kind of just threw this together like last night in the bath. Or I finished it last night in the bath. But let me know your thoughts, opinions, have a discussion. because I'm filming this the day it's going up, I have already started The Fellowship of the Ring. This read through I will be focusing on Gandalf. I haven't actually decided if I'm going to focus on Gandalf the entire way through the trilogy yet, or if I'm just going to focus on him in this book and then do a different character in the next book. Just because there are characters in like the third book that aren't in the other two books. So I have to figure out how I'm going to do that, if I'm going to focus on characters and stuff like that. So this read through right now, I am focusing on Gandalf. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can check out my next video. Have a great day and a wonderful week.